And also like, maybe not like when I talk, maybe not like trying to, this is just something because I watch a lot of podcasts, but instead of like listening to the person talk or not listening to the person talk and thinking of a question, rather finding the flow of the conversation. So like, let's say I'm heading in one direction, you don't want to ask a question now that's like
gonna make you, for sure, bro.
And then you want to like take the question that's being asked
and go into
if there's something said that you're like, I talk a lot and I can keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can keep going. But what you'll see, like when I'm talking, there will be something in there that you can leapfrog off, and you can be like, okay, off that, I want to go in that direction.
Yeah.
Like let's say I say something about like one of my harder moments, and you can just be like, if I say something, talk about that moment, like go into, so that the conversation more flows instead of like just like, instead of the people realizing that you're not listening,
for sure.
you're just wanting to ask a question, and then it's a bit more like boom, 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 instead of like a conversation. That's something that I learned with watching podcasts. The Diary of a CEO is very good at this.
I'm gonna put this for sure, this section for sure, bro. Guys, how to run a podcast.
How to run a podcast, yeah. From someone who's never done a podcast.
For someone so talented that. Okay, that's great. 2, 1. Welcome, guys. I'm super happy to welcome you in Bagnoles into my garden for the first ever episode of Between Two Trees. Actually, the second one.
That's a lie.
The second one. Because we shot it 3 days ago, and unfortunately we had a mic problem. I take all the responsibility of this. But yeah, I'm super happy to be here with my guest. As you can see, this episode will be in English, so we're gonna try to put subtitle on. I think I'm gonna be able to do this. It's not a big deal, is it?
To put French subtitles?
No, French.
There's an app you can use.
Okay, you'll tell me.
I got you, brother.
For sure. So yeah, guys, I'm super happy, and today's guest is a superstar in short distance triathlon. He's from South Africa, and he's going to make his first Olympics in 2 weeks in Paris. I'm super honored to have him today in the podcast. Welcome to Jamie Riddle.
Thank you, my friend.
How are you feeling?
Honored to be here. Deja vu, man.
Deja vu.
Deja vu. I've been here before.
Deja vu.
No, it's good. I think I actually have more energy today than I did the last time we did this. I was dead the last time, but yeah. Another day in Bagnoles, another hot day, but yeah.
Yeah, another hot day.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming a second time in a row.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, imagine I've had my first 2 episodes ever with the same guy.
Yeah, dude. First one to make 2 appearances.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really happy that you came a second time, and I hope, guys, you're gonna enjoy the content. Yeah. So let's do it.
Let's dive into it.
Okay, so you're gonna make your first Olympics in 2 weeks. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, man, that's true. Crazy. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of feelings: excitement, nervous, pressure, a whole bunch of things. But and it goes in like waves. Sometimes you're super excited, sometimes you got so much pressure. But I think obviously overwhelmingly excited. But yeah, I won't lie and sit here and say that it's been easy or that there hasn't been other sort of feelings. But 2 weeks out now, all the hard work is done, so it's now really time to just try and enjoy the last bit of preparations and things like that. It kind of feels surreal. You don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's cool. Very, very excited.
Did your training change a bit for this specific race? Like it's Olympic Games. That's the biggest race in triathlon short distance. So of course there is more pressure with it. But does your training change for this specific race, or is it like the same as usual?
I think like yes and no. I'm a really young athlete, right? I'm 24, so I'm still trying to find my way regardless of what races I'm racing. So with that being said, my training this year is so different to last year and so different to the year before that. I think being a young athlete, what you're trying to ultimately accomplish is consistency and load. So you're trying to always get a little bit more consistent and a little bit more load. So this year has essentially been trying to get consistency. I've never really had consistency in training in my career, and I've managed to obtain that somewhat. I think with the pressure of such a big race, it's like you kind of always want it to be better. So that's been hard to mentally switch off. But yeah, the training's been different. I've obviously, yeah, as I've said now, just try to be more consistent, try to be more specific to what the race's demands are going to be, work on my weaknesses. And then, yeah, just battling the everyday niggles and mental highs and mental lows and these sorts of things.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got the experience of the 2022 Commonwealth Game, where you finished fifth?
Sixth, I think.
Sixth,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but you had like a...
We'll say fifth.
Yeah, sixth. You had a really great race.
Mm-hmm.
Can you use this experience for the Olympics? Is it something you think is going to be similar, like the whole environment of a championship, or do you think it's really going to be another level?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think at the time I didn't really realize what Commonwealth Games was. Like, I didn't realize that it was the second biggest race as a sportsman coming from South Africa. It's a huge deal for the Commonwealth countries.
Yeah.
So I went into it not really focusing on it. I mean, I even remember the year, like I didn't really even use it as a peak race almost. So it was kind of funny, like only once I got to the village and realized, oh my goodness, there's like incredible sprinters, marathoners, like people from all over, that I was like, okay, this is actually a big deal. And then obviously during the race and after the race, seeing what it did for my career, and how it like leaped me forward in what I was doing, then I understood it. But I think that was pretty cool, not actually understanding what the Commonwealth Game meant. It allowed me to race stress-free, pressure-free, and ultimately do things that the way I usually race. You know, I broke away with Hayden and Taylor, and I was lying second with 3.5 Ks to go on the run. I know, but yeah. But yeah, I think using that experience for the Olympics is definitely an advantage that some countries like France don't have. You know, you get to experience some sort of a games, but I think the Olympics is going to be a different level. Like, even I felt the pressure leading up to it. Yeah.
Like way better before the race.
Yeah, like just people, like just the interest just starts to compound. And as you get closer and closer, the interest becomes more and more. With that interest comes pressure. And I've noticed that, like, I didn't notice that before Commonwealth Games. Like, people starting to message, when are you racing? What time are you racing? People that I like was in school with in like grade 5, like when I was 12 years old, are wanting to know, and they've seen. So, but different for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering something. We need to.
Yeah, I'm gonna clap.
Small clap.
Yeah. Not everyone or everyone.
Like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Let's go. Can you talk about that qualification period? How intense it was for you? We know that every country has different criteria for the Olympic qualifications. Some are, like as France, very, very tough. Other easier, but you are in a difficult position leading into the qualification period. Yeah. Can you explain a bit what you had to do and
how to qualify? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like something that's not spoken about enough. The qualification period. I think it's, as all the athletes that have qualified know, I think there's not one athlete that has not had a stressful period. Yeah. Like you say, like France's selection criteria is out of this world, ridiculously tough. But each country's criteria is set to their level of racing, their level of their country, right? So my South African criteria is set to our South African. So the level of difficulty is just not just as hard for us, but it is extremely difficult, right? Of course. But I think it's a tough one because yes, you need to deserve your spot, but it's such a rigorous and tough process that it steals a lot of the enjoyment away from what we're actually supposed to be doing, which is just celebrating sport and celebrating the unification of the world in one single event. But yeah, from South Africa, the reason it was so hard is because it changed. it changed so suddenly. Initially, the criteria was we just needed to be into the Olympic simulation, so we needed to be in that top 60 in the world, and we needed to just show that we were willing to be there for the team relays and try our best, and through that we'd be able to, so essentially whoever's first in the ranking would go. So that's what we took with me and my coach, and we did what we needed to do. We went to go do the right races to be in the right position to make the Olympic selection.
Yeah.
But then about 8 months out from the announcement of when the team would be announced, which is in May, they changed the criteria completely. And the criteria now became you had to win a series of African Cups. So you basically go head to head against a bunch of South Africans, and you had to win these African Cups.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to do that, you had to podium at a World Cup. If you didn't want to do that, you had to come, I think it was top 8 in a World Series. That would guarantee. Those are automatic. So you could those would trump the African Cups.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I've never had a top 8 World Series, and I've never had a podium World Cup. So it was just too much of a gamble for me to go and do that, even though I believe I'm at that level to be able to do that. And what was really frustrating for me is I was injured at the time, my left shoulder.
Yeah.
And I reached out and I said, you know, it's clearly Henry Skuman and myself in the men's field. We were leaps ahead of the others. Can we make some sort of exception? And there was an exception. And by all the physiotherapists, the doctors, and everyone, they said I shouldn't race the African Cups.
Yeah.
But I had no choice. So I raced them without swim training. And luckily they did go according to plan. However, because of this shift in selection criteria, that I had to do these African Cups, it stopped me from racing World Cup and World Series,
Yeah, of course.
which is what I needed points-wise to get the simulation. So once I achieved the qualification, it wasn't enough. I needed to now get a podium in a World Cup. And I had 2 World Cups to do this in. And I went to Wollongong and I got a podium. So I managed to, get automatic selection, but also, so I was just, the beginning of the year has been terrible and it's messed up the training a bit, but yeah.
So without that podium in Wollongong, you wouldn't have made it, or?
I wouldn't have made, unless I went to Holtoko and podium, but we saw what happened in Holtoko.
Where was it?
Holtoko, Mexico.
Okay, yeah.
So I had Wollongong World Cup and
Okay.
Holtoko, Mexico. I had to get accumulated points.
Yeah.
And it worked because I got the podium.
Okay.
If I didn't get the podium, I would have to have podium in Holtoko. But I didn't. So looking back now, because I podium in Wollongong, I made the criteria. But let's say the criteria wasn't there in those African Cups, I could have just gone to do 1 or 2 World Series and I would have got the points and been relaxed. But because,
That just shows that the whole period before the Olympics, even I would say like the 15 months before the Olympics, are a lot of stress. Like you have to nail a lot of stuff. Like you don't have any guarantee that you're gonna make it, and that's the tough part, I think, for every athlete. Perfect, man. I remember a story of one of your friend from Australia, Ryan Fisher, when you did the podium in Wollongong. He said, like he posted in story, that you said before the race that you were going to podium at this race. How was your mindset before this race? How did you feel?
Yeah, I think for me, I perform best under pressure, like when there's actually something really stressful, which is weird to say. Like I knew that I needed to, I knew that I needed to have a good result, but I was very angry at the selectors in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show and say, like, listen, I'm going to achieve this criteria, I'm going to achieve that criteria, and I'm going to do everything. And I remember waking up on the day and I just went to Ryan Fisher and I was like, I can't believe I'm about to get my first World Cup podium. And he laughed at me and I was like, no, dude, I'm serious. Today I'm going to get my first World Cup podium. And I went out and I did it. And I think that's my advantage. When I'm confident, then I'm racing really well. It's about getting into that place of confidence. You can't fake confidence. And that day I knew that I was going to get my World Cup podium. And it's actually kind of weird. Like I feel like all my races, I've kind of not predicted what's going to happen, but I always have this certain feel for what's going to happen. Yeah. It's interesting.
That's nice.
Yeah.
For the Olympics, there is 3 races for triathlon. one Olympic distance for the men, one Olympic distance for the female, and 5 or 6 days later the mixed team relay. Unfortunately, South Africa is not going to race the mixed team relay, so you only are going to Paris for the big race with all the guys. It's an Olympic distance, so 15,000 meter swim, 40 kilometer bike, and then a 10K run. Are you happy that? Well, not happy, but do you think it suits you better this distance over a sprint distance? What do you think about this?
I'm actually not too sure. I think I honestly have never raced an Olympic distance in the World Series against the guys that you'll race in the Olympics. So I'm not too sure. I've never really nailed an Olympic distance either, so that's going to be quite interesting. But I think ultimately, what I've noticed is it's really just both a test of fitness, and with the sprint distance, you have half the amount of time to fake it, right?
Yeah,
so it's essentially you can say sprint distance suits you more, but I think it's ultimately that you're just not fit enough to sustain the Olympic distance. I don't think there's a massive difference between the two, except for your general, your shape and your form and your fitness. Exactly. So I'm hoping, I think Olympic distance will suit me. We'll see. I mean, literally, it's my first Olympic distance against these guys, so we'll see. But I'm obviously hoping that I'm in the pointy end till the end of the race.
For sure.
Yeah.
You raced last year the mixed team relay this time in Paris, but not the men's race, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you know approximately the bike course, the run course?
Yeah, I got to do the bike familiarizations and stuff. Yeah, it's a very interesting course. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think it suits the breakaway. The swim is very interesting with the currents. It's going to be the first time we see such a swim.
You can really feel it.
Yeah. It's insane. I think they swam the first 500 meters under 5 minutes towards the first buoy or something like that, because we had the tail current. So world record pace, and then on the way back it was 120, 130 per 100. So it's gonna be crazy. And then also the shortest line is not always the fastest line. You need to sometimes go to the edge of the so I think the swim is going to determine a lot of whether there's going to be a breakaway or not, depending on the currents. The bike is pretty hard. I mean, again, the Champs-Élysées, or I don't know how you guys say it in French, but
yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, let's go.
You nailed it.
The Champs-Élysées, we get basically a textbook version of it every single year with the Tour de France. There's always attempted breakaways that never works, and the reason is because of the cobbles, the wide roads. It's very the exposure is very high, so it's going to be very hard to break away. But I think if you've got a good group of guys working, there's always a chance. But yeah, it's the most incredible, iconic venue we could have ever asked for, I think.
For the lining up for this race, I think it's not like a usual race, WTCS. If I'm, maybe I'm wrong, but everyone's picking his spot on the pontoon without knowing where the others are gonna be. Is it right? I
don't think so. I think it's more of just a draw.
Is it?
It's a draw. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's almost like a lucky draw type thing. But you work on country, so your South Africa will get their 2 spots. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, dude.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
What I thought was,
I'm the worst person to ask for these sort of stuff. If I didn't know it was Olympics, I wouldn't even know if we were racing sprint distance or Olympic distance until a few days before. That's how I am.
That's maybe nice to get the best out of the race.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Still about the Olympics. So we are in Bagnoles right now. It's the 15th of July, and it's a great day to be Spanish today because they won the Euros yesterday. But it means that the race is in exactly 2 weeks. 15 days. How are you gonna get there?
Just taking the train straight from Girona directly. It's pretty easy from here.
Okay.
The team obviously travels from South Africa, so I'll only meet the team in Paris. But very easy. I travel on the 25th of July, 5 days before the event, and direct train, 7 hours. Super easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy for Olympics going by train.
So just, casual.
Going
Imagine
for a French Grand Prix
did,
some guys are from Paris, so they're just gonna take the bus and go to the Olympics.
It's crazy.
But yeah, that's cool. You've been training with Nico, our coach, the coach of the group we are in, for the last 7-8 years.
Yeah.
How special is it for you to succeed to make the Olympic with him, knowing that he's been your maybe first ever coach in triathlon?
Yeah, no, I think like what's very special is with other coaches is some people join a coach and they're there with that coach for long, but in our circumstance, we both started at the exact same time. So when he started his coaching career, I was his first athlete, like a little guinea pig, if you could say.
Yeah.
So through the years, we've made many mistakes, we've made many right things, but we've always grown together, and we've seen people come and join the project. But yeah, it's obviously incredibly special. I mean, he's more than just a coach. He's my second dad. He's my psychologist. He's my best friend. So it's very cool. But there's that huge respect between the both of us, and yeah, it's actually surreal to think about it. 8 years, man. That's I could be a child to him. It's long, dude. But yeah, he's a great coach. He works on me, and I've developed more emotionally, physically, spiritually. So it's been amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's like you can't talk about you without quoting Nico and the opposite as well.
Yeah. It's true.
So yeah, that's the first year of the group that we are part of. We joined Bagnoles in March for a few guys from the team. Before this, you were leaving South Africa end of summer here in Europe because most of the races are in Europe during the summer, and for sure it's easier for South African to have like a camp in Europe. Australian are doing this. New Zealand is doing this as well. So before this, you were going in Switzerland, training with the like the Switzerland squad for a bit. You were as well moving from one place to another. How easier is it for you to get a proper training base in Bagnoles here this year?
Yeah, it's been great, and to also get a squad that really cares for each other. I think that's been really special. Obviously, when I was with the Swiss Tri, it was like they came first. They were kind of their own squad. I was just the outsider that joined in here and there. And yeah, as you said, I was kind of like a gypsy, just moving from hotel, Airbnb all the time. And that was extremely hard. And I think that led me down a dark road of not really enjoying the sport and things like that. But getting the base has been, yeah, it's been amazing, man. But I think even more so the squad, just getting a squad that really cares for each other, that yeah, we all love each other. We actually care about each other, so that's been really good. But to have the base in Bagnoles is perfect, man. Like, we have the best cycling roads, great facilities, best running routes and things like that. So the weather's really good all year round. So it's been cool. Of course, I always miss South Africa. South Africa's always home, so that's always tough. But yeah, it's great, man. I really do enjoy it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think we can have a little break, and we'll see you guys in a few seconds.
All right now for you.
Right now for you. Welcome back, guys. We're still in the same place. Still happy to share this moment with you. So yeah, let's dive deep into the end of this podcast. I have a question for you. What would be the darkest period you've overcome in your career so far?
It's a good question. I know the question.
Oh, you know that?
Yeah, I've heard this one. No, yeah. I answer, obviously, we had a podcast before and I answered this already, for sure. But like, I think walking away from that podcast, like, I realized that my answer maybe wasn't completely true, maybe. Like, for sure, the moment that I'm talking about is when I was young, I ran in grade 8, so 13 years old, I ran 16:24 5K. And that was huge, and everyone's eyes were on this and so forth. For the next 5-6 years, I didn't beat that time at all. I ran that time 3 or 4 times exactly to the split. And I had a huge breakdown with my father, and I was like, I can't continue the sport. And it was a moment where I almost gave up in the sport of triathlon. And at that moment, I decided I'm giving up. and obviously I didn't give up.
Yeah.
But like, if you ask a question like that, like what was the darkest moment? It's like, unfortunately, there is no darkest moment. There's many dark moments. And I think like for me, last year towards the end of the year was actually the darkest, which I obviously didn't get into too much, and never really fully comfortable opening up too much. But like, I just for so long did this sport, and it just set me down this rabbit hole of trying to, like, I don't know, feed my ego or just constantly chase success, and through that I just lost all my direction in life and found fulfillment in things that are not good and not happy, like partying and alcohol and things like that, and no one really knows. But I think that was the darkest moment in my life, really going down a dark hole, where I didn't recognize who I was. And I was just doing triathlon because it was something I was talented in instead of something that I really wanted to do. So I think towards the end of last year was a really dark moment for me, and my rock bottom. But through that I found, my spirituality and where I'm at now, and obviously completely sober and all these sorts of things. So I would say probably last year was actually my darkest moment. Yeah.
We were in South Africa this time in January with all the group for the first ever training camp of the group, and reflecting on this period, I'm really impressed by how you managed to get back into the things after what you've been through, and that's super inspiring for me. How you did this. What's been the not the key point, but what helped you get over this period and just not quitting at this moment?
The funny thing is I did quit. So I actually did quit. I remember like making a decision in my mind that I'm done with this, done with triathlon. I picked up like 10 kgs of weight. I got almost 80 kgs, which is crazy to think. Bro. Yeah, dude, no, it was crazy. I mean, I took almost 3 months off the sport. And I was partying every single day, like every day. And so I actually made the decision in my mind to quit, and I did quit for quite a bit. And if the squad wasn't coming to South Africa, man, I don't know where I'd be really. I was super lost, but it wasn't just that 3 months, right? It's a build up of many years of certain things. So like what changed for sure, I had like a moment with a friend that he had heard or put on his heart to talk to me from God, to talk to me about a certain situation. And we never really speak like that. And when he spoke to me, it really spoke to me. And then the next days I had essentially like an encounter with a God. And then once I had that encounter with a God, I went on a journey of trying to find out what God that was, which God that is for me. And that's kind of what saved me. Once I did that and started to research different religions and certain things, I came to find out who I believe God is and what God is and what I follow and what I believe in fully. And then that kind of changed the trajectory of my life, where everything changed. What I believed in, what I lived for, my purpose, everything changed.
Yeah.
So like that's what changed. Of course, I give all the glory to God in that sense that I was able to change and turn things around. However, there's obviously that responsibility that you have a choice as a person. You have free will as a person to make certain choices. People sometimes say everything happens for a reason, but it does, but it also doesn't. Like if you take a gun and shoot something or someone, that's not everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, right.
There's free will there. But I think there's like this, if you listen closely enough to your spiritual side and to God and to Jesus, then you will be directed on a path that is purposeful, has reason. But if you're far away from God, your everything happens for a reason sends you down somewhere else. That if everyone was honest with themselves and looked themselves in the mirror, they would realize that path is not fulfilling, that's not good. So yeah.
Yeah, the right one.
Yeah.
And do you think finding your way through religion helped you as well in your training, in your racing? Did your approach of racing change a bit? How can you manage pressure using religion, or just knowing that there is something bigger than sports? In the end, it's just a passion. You're doing this for a living, and that's super. That was your childhood dream. But yeah, does it help you take off a bit of pressure on racing?
Yes and no. Like, I think it's helped in certain aspects. Firstly, religion is a very interesting word. I wouldn't say I follow I'm not someone that to say that like I follow a religion or anything like that. Like, religion can be quite dangerous because it's very much with the man, like the man-made stuff and human-made things. I'm a follower of Christ, of Jesus Christ. Believe in that full-heartedly. So yeah, it's helped me in certain aspects to understand that it's not about me. And to understand that there's a bigger picture, and that there's always, if I listen close enough, there's always a purpose to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's also taken away a certain side of me that helped with the racing, the ego side, you know, the wanting to be the best in the world, the dominating, like the really like these sorts of things.
Animal instinct.
Yes, I mean, I still stand on the sideline and want to do well, but it's a different reason now. I want to do well because I know it's going to give me a platform to touch someone in a certain way. And I'm not here like saying like, you believe in Jesus, you believe in Jesus. I'm just trying to live my life and live my light through what I do, and hopefully people see that light and are interested in that, and then that brings them.
Follow them.
It takes what it did for me, it took a dead man and made him a living man. So there's like certain aspects where it helped, and then there's certain aspects where like it's harder. I mean, heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's a very famous saying, and there's obviously two ways to look at that. The crown being the titles, so heavy is the head that wears the titles and that sort of things. Or there's the way that I look at it, heavy is the head that wears the crown, being that the man who has a purpose, who is serving the creator of everything. I've got responsibility to act and be a certain way, that when I say something, I'm not contradicting that. When I am going out there saying that you should not do this, or that this is the right way to live, I should not contradict how I live. And again, like, the backbone of Christianity is you'll never be perfect, you'll never be able to live perfect, and fault is where the power lies, the good news lies. Me being a Christian doesn't make me a perfect human. It points out my faults and allows me to admit them to myself and be vulnerable and show that I'm a flawed human, but through Jesus Christ I can become better, I can live better, I can, through the power of the Holy Spirit, to make better choices in my life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
Great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, you said that you wanted as well to inspire through your journey. Is it something important as well? Of course, the result is important, but yeah, what's the message you want to share to your supporting team?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've always wanted to inspire. Just before religion, before Jesus, I've always wanted to inspire.
Yeah.
If you followed me, you've known that it's kind of like something that I really enjoy, is writing a few words, stringing a few words together that means something. But yes, it's just like, okay, so that exactly what you said is, what is the message? So before, when I was inspiring, it was a certain type of message, and now I inspire for a different type of message. I think ultimately the message that I would like to portray, if I could leave something behind, is to be curious about everything. And to be curious, I believe, is you have to pursue something that has been put on your heart by the Creator. So all of us have passions, desires, and things that we want to do in this life. And the ones that are put on our hearts are usually the most scary, daunting ones. But in that pursuit of achieving that, you bump your head, you learn. If it wasn't for triathlon, would I have come to this point in my life? I don't know. But I think, yeah, the message that I would like to portray is like to just have a look at yourself and what you do, why you do what you do, and make sure that it's something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always trying to look back at the 10-year-old version of me and what I could say or do that would change the course of his life. That's what I try to think of. And for me, the answer lies in vulnerability, admitting my flaws, and just being a human. I think being vulnerable is being brave, and obviously in today's age you could get like teased for that or something like that. But for me, I don't care. Yeah.
You said before that Nico was helping you as well in your spiritual journey. I know that you're really close to your family, but for the racing, for the triathlon, there is a lot of time that you're away from your family, from South Africa. Of course, you're still in touch with them, and I know that. But yeah, how are they helping you when you're in a low period, and how important are they for you?
Yeah, they're everything. They're everything. I think that's something that I've realized is that this life, all it is about family, about loving those around you, about creating a family. You know, we're brought to this earth for a purpose of reproducing and making a family, and so yeah, I think like they've become even more important over the last couple months. And I miss them terribly every day, and it's a hard journey. It's a selfish journey, but they're everything to me. They instilled all the right values for me to become the person I am today, by mistake or by intention. Who knows? Yeah. But I'm very proud of the person I am and the life I'm creating and the direction I'm heading. And I obviously have them to thank for that. They've always believed in me. That was one thing that they always gave me, was like, pursue what you really want, your passion, and alongside that, hand in hand, is hard work. Like you can't just say, oh, I want to be an astronaut, and then just not do what you need to do to be an astronaut or whatever. You know, they said, if you want to be a triathlete, great. Show us that you're going to work to be a triathlete, and we'll back you as much as possible. Yeah.
I'm thinking about like a post your dad made when you made it to the Olympics, and I think there was one or two picture that then when you were really little, maybe running with him in Hawaii on the iconic bike course or run course.
Yeah. Or the lava thingy, like this road.
Yeah. And so you've been, I think he's been your hero for you, no? Like growing up.
Yeah.
And that's so funny, and in the same time so beautiful that now you're making it the Olympics, and he's the role change.
Yeah.
He's behind you, supporting you. Yeah. When you've been, when you were little, the biggest fan of your dad. So
yeah. Oh, it was everything. Like, I think, like, I don't know, I can only speak for boys, but like as a son, all I ever wanted to hear was like, I'm proud of you, son. And I was lucky enough to have that all the time. Like, my dad was always proud of me, whether I won or not. Yeah. The things that he looked for were, are you giving your best? Are you trying your best? Are you being a good person? These sorts of things, the values that I chase for today, right? That's what I chase for today. Yeah. He was never like, I'm proud of you for winning, you know, it was never about that. But yeah, I remember being a youngster and seeing how hard my dad worked. He had a full-time job, but he also worked really hard in triathlon and treated it as like a professional. And that always inspired me. And like, I remember when he would race, on the days he would race, I'd get super nervous and I'd be so invested. I mean, I remember when he got a few, like, I think he got 3 punctures in Kona. Like, he tried forever to get Kona. He got to Kona, and like the day he got 3 punctures. So he was out the race completely. Yeah. But so he was like walking the marathon, and on the highway, I think it's called the Queen K. Yeah. And I heard this from my mom, and I was barefoot, or no, I had slops on, like flip-flop sandals. I think you call them in French. Yeah. And he was like 13 Ks out or something like that. And at the age of like 12 or 13, I was like, I'm gonna run to him and go and like get him, and I can't remember exactly, but I think I ran like 10, as a 13-year-old, I ran like 10 Ks with slops on, sandals, along the queuing K just to get to him and walked, and so it was like 25 Ks or whatever at the age of 13 with him. So yeah, it's been cool. He's been the best supporter, and my parents are so invested into it, and it's very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing that you've got the support from your family, and just watching this from the outside as well, and like it makes me happy to see all the support you get. But I mean, it's completely deserved. So well done for that.
Thanks, brother.
I've got something in mind, quite interesting. So in France, we are fortunate enough to have a training camp organized by the federation.
Yeah.
And this since I think maybe 15 years ago, like the first athletes having this program were Vincent Louis, Aurélien Raphael, some top athletes, and it's still going on. And that's allows the federation to have a inside of the generation, male, female, from 12 to 18 years old. So every 2-3 months there is 2 to 3 weeks training camp in France, where I don't know, maybe 20-25 athletes are invited, and that's a huge bonus for us, for athletes, for our development. So that's great. But of course, from South Africa, you didn't have access to this kind of training camp, but you're still here. But you still made it to the Olympics. And what I wanted to ask, I know the answer, but I think it's nice that you can explain this to French athletes. How did you develop as a professional triathlete when you couldn't have access to all of this? You were kind of on your own the whole way.
Yeah, that was well asked. Well done. Yeah, like that's exactly it. And I think that's like something that's really interesting. That I've always tried to work out my whole career, like seeing the French setup, obviously having the opportunity to train with French guys, race with French guys and things like that. It's very interesting. The setup that you guys have is incredibly, incredible. And you can see it with the athletes that you guys produce. I mean, the countless athletes you produce. I mean, not only the ones that are at the World Series, the ones at the World Cups, the ones at the European Cup level, the ones at the French Grand Prix. Like, I look at the French Grand Prix and I'm like, I go race this, I come 6th. In the top 10, there's 5 Olympians, and I come 6th, and there's like a 20-year-old that came 4th.
French,
some French guy I've never heard in my life.
Yeah.
How did I do it? I think there's something in South Africans where we do not get anything, so we have this certain level of hunger.
Yeah.
Our country is very such a bad situation where there is no money. There is no sort of development in sport except for, I guess, rugby, soccer, maybe a bit of cricket. But I think like choosing triathlon is very left field. But yeah, I think like ultimately that's why you don't see many South African triathletes. But when you see them, they're really good. It's because Richard Murray, Henry Skumar, myself, even Conrad Stoltz before, who went to the Olympics, we had to overcome a certain level of challenges to get to where we are.
Yeah.
Because financially we're not a wealthy country, so our parents are not usually wealthy, and we have to overcome these challenges. But when we do, there's something inside of us that allows us to perform, knowing that there is no plan B. There is no, okay, I can go work at the McDonald's and be okay. Like, there is no, you will be homeless because we don't have, like, for me, I don't have a degree. So if triathlon doesn't work out, unless I know someone who's offering a job that's really close family or something, like the chance of me getting something is nothing. Like, we have one of the highest unemployment rates ever. Our minimum wage is like €1.50 an hour. It's like, you can't live. So I think there's just this level of like, you have to do certain things. So when I was coming up, I knew I had to get sponsors. I wasn't going to be able to do what I wanted to do. So I practiced that. I did public speaking. I did like PowerPoint. I did certain things that I needed to do to be able to get the sponsors. And it served me well to do that today, like being able to talk in front of the camera and certain things and enjoying it. And
Should have done this.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the setup you guys have in France is incredible. We don't have that, but that doesn't mean that we can't be some of the best athletes in the world. I mean,
Of course.
in Rio, we got a 3rd and a 4th in the Olympics,
yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, I mean, and France got what, maybe 5th
Seven.
and 12th or something like that?
Yeah, not even 12th, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
so,
that's something we've never reached.
Yes, which is crazy to think. But
Yeah.
and that's why you'll see like a Richard Murray Henry Schoeman, and then maybe like 10, 15 years of nothing, and then you'll have like a crazy good athlete, because it comes down to, you know, we have many talented athletes, but they just can't afford it, they can't do it. There is no, I mean, even today, like, okay, maybe today I get funded, but like, let's say 2 years ago, there was no funding for me, zero. I had to do it all by myself. Yeah.
That's so inspiring. And I think it's really interesting that you talk about this, because I'm not sure. French athletes, I know, I hope a lot of young athletes gonna watch this, but they're not aware about this. Like,
yeah, I would say don't complain.
Yeah.
Man, one thing I've learned training with French people is they know how to complain, bro.
Not me.
Not you. But no, don't complain. Complaining is the start of of losing it all, I believe. So stop complaining. Use the opportunities given to you. Work hard, and you can achieve your dreams. You don't need all the best equipment in the world. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to get every single opportunity you want, but don't complain. In France, you guys have it real good. Yeah, there's a lot of talented athletes, and it's harder to become a French professional because you get the one chance to race the European Cup and you have to perform. But you get the one chance. But look at the other side. You guys have the French Grand Prix. You have certain things in your country that allows you to develop. I mean, if I was coming up as let's say I was coming up as a 10-year-old and when I raced my under 13 national champs and there was 30 guys on the start line, there wasn't that. There was 5 people on the start line. And there was one guy who were really close, but I would win by minutes because there was no competition. So
yeah, sure.
You guys get pushed at a certain level. So I'll just say don't complain. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great advice. I'll just ask you a few questions over on training. So what's your advice for maybe not even professional athletes, but people that want just to get better in what they are doing in training, in like running, cycling, and swimming?
Yeah.
What's your advice to just improve and to be better in the sport?
Consistency is king. So get consistent and do what you need to do to get that consistency. I believe that 99% of athletes train too hard, even professionals. So train easier to allow yourself to get consistent. A happy athlete is a fast athlete, so make sure that you're happy in your life. Those are the things I would say. So start focusing on just getting consistency by training easy enough to allow yourself to get that consistency. Stay injury-free. No one cares what you do at 22. Everyone cares what you do at 28. So you have time. Take it easy, champ.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. That was great. So yeah, guys, I think we're done with this first episode, with the first episode. It was a pleasure for me to start this project. I've overcome a lot of obstacles to get there, but I'm super grateful that people around me just pushed me a bit to just get that first do that first step and start what I wanted to do for a long time now. And as I crashed on the bike 2 weeks ago, I've had plenty of time to just start this project. So yeah, thank you to you, man. Thank you to the team, and I hope you guys enjoyed this first ever episode. So see you for the second round.
Showing you never will cover.